This is spilling a bit of tea. I'm a big Lord Sugar cheerleader, super fan. When we were in the boardroom, I'd be able to like finish his sentences. And everyone was like, whoa. For my dad's 40th, my mum bought him like 40 animals. We were like Noah's Ark. I feel like a traitor for saying that.
Just want to take a moment, guys, to thank my sponsor, Swan. They've been absolutely amazing in making this podcast happen. You all know that I love my new air fryer and I love the pink kettle and the Nordic collection as well. And Swan have been amazing and given me a discount code, which I've actually used myself and it saved me a lot of dollar. It is Lauren S20, so make sure you pop that in at the checkout. The website is www.swan-brand.co.uk. So grab some cool stuff for your kitchen, use my discount code at the checkout, and let me know what you get. Hi, welcome back to Not Always a Princess. We have a very exciting guest on today, something I'm the biggest fan of ever, and a fellow Northern gal as well. It is Camilla Ainsworth. Yay. I wanted an apprentice. That was on my list. I was like, someone from The Apprentice, but you're Northern.
Yeah, so I tick all the boxes basically.
You're from near me though, aren't you? Blackburn?
Yeah, Costa del Blackburn, darling.
Costa del Blackburn.
Yes, absolutely. I always fly the flag for it.
Yeah.
I remember on the show they were like, do you want us to put Lancashire instead of Blackburn?
They always do that.
And I was like,
Ribble Valley, Clitheroe.
Like, Pleasington.
Yeah.
I was like, no, say it with your chest. I'm from Blackburn.
Yeah.
Not afraid of it, you know.
I'm from Burnley, not far from you. Do you know
it.
what? So many successful people come from Blackburn, Great Harwood area. Like, do you know the Finch Bakery gals?
Yes, I do. And there's Capo, the clothing brand.
Yes.
My
ex-boyfriend used to wear that all the time.
Really?
They were friends.
Fun times.
Love that. So let's start from the beginning. The Apprentice vibes, yeah. But just before The Apprentice, like, where were you at? What was your vibe?
Yeah, so pre-Apprentice, I had done the typical gap year. Gone to find myself in Australia. Basic bitch starter pack, acai bowls, days that ended in a Y, basically. Every single day having that. So I was living in Australia for a year, pre-Apprentice, and I think I needed that because I'd been in education, like, up until that point. It was very much that was what you did in my household. You go to uni, like, you don't.
Did you go to uni?
Yeah, I went to uni, and then I came back from Australia, and the plan was always to go back because I'd done my farm work, which, let me tell you, was the hardest thing I've ever done. My vibe was just basically navigating through ending education and wondering what the hell to do next, basically.
Yes. At what kind of age was that?
So I think I was really young when I went to live in Australia, actually. Because I was the youngest one in my year. So I actually graduated from uni when I was 20. Everyone's always like, oh, were you a genius? Were you like Matilda? Did you graduate early? But it was just when I was conceived.
Yes.
But I prefer the genius narrative.
I love that.
So I think I was 20 when I went to Australia. So I was 21 when I came back.
Nice.
But that was a very character building experience. And I think that actually allowed me to build the toolkit to have the confidence to then go on to The Apprentice.
Yeah. At what point did you think, I feel like going on that show, or I might go on that show in the future? Did you ever get that?
Well, I'm like you. I've always been a raging Apprentice fan.
Yes.
Like, I grew up on that. Do you know what I mean? Like, that was the only show that I was allowed to stay up and watch, because it's actually conducive to, learning. It's
100%.
It's really good for inspiring young people, and my parents were like big on letting me watch Dragon's Den.
I was going to say, did you ever have a Dragon's Den moment either?
Yeah, like I think The Apprentice was always the one for me because you get longer on the show, and Lord Sugar, I'm a big Lord Sugar cheerleader, super fan.
Yes.
I was basically, when we were in the boardroom, I'd be able to like finish his sentences of like his life story. No. He'd be like, I was selling aerials out of your car.
Yeah.
And everyone was like, whoa.
Okay.
I tried to play it cool, but I'd literally read all of his books from cover to cover.
Yeah.
Like, if he'd have done a book signing, best be believing, I would have been there at like 5 a.m.
Sometimes I have a crush on people based on their personality. Like, I have a crush on Gordon Ramsay, Sam
I
Powell.
do.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Lord Sugar's in there.
That's so funny that you, yeah. I always say Gordon Ramsay, and everyone's like,
can you imagine Gordon Ramsay?
But there's that meme that goes around on Instagram that always makes me laugh. It's like, I just want my boyfriend to be like Gordon Ramsay and shout at me for burning a creme brulee.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, sexy.
Yes.
But yeah, so that was why I wanted to go on it, just because I had a genuine interest in the show. I'd grown up on it. And I thought, you know what? I fell into the trap of when people watch The Apprentice and you end up screaming at the TV saying, what are you doing? I could do that.
I said this on this season, right? So me and Dan sat there watching The Apprentice, went, right, do you know what? Actually, before they say what their idea is, what would we come up with? We're in the moment, we've not got our phone.
Yeah.
Because I remember him firing someone one year for a spell error.
Yeah.
And I was like, honey, we've all got spell check, we've all got calculators, that's unfair.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because you don't get your phones on the process.
No phones at all for 12 weeks.
But you're screaming like, you know, like, that is the most ridiculous idea. I don't know if you watched, did you watch this season?
I didn't watch this season, no. I feel like a traitor for saying that.
Yeah.
Blasphemous.
Because it was quite a good one. You know, they'd have one week where they'd make something, but you'd think, the next week you'd think, if they'd only made that what they made last week for this week, they'd have been winners.
Absolutely. I think with the spelling stuff, there was one year, and I think it was my year actually, not on my team, but we'd made chocolate and they were called like cocoa nibs, but they'd spelt it nips. And
what about the kill one with the
with the baby food, the dyes?
Yes. Did you know that your baby food
says
well,
my year, remember, was jet pop, as in the explode, and we put an explosion over the O. But the thing with me is with The Apprentice, I never want to say too much to ruin the show, because people watch it with me when it's on TV, and I'm like, and I ruin it for them because I'm like, that didn't happen like that. Like, that's been manipulated.
Is it very processed? Like,
it isn't, in that whatever you say, you've said. Like, no one's giving you lines, but when you're waking up at 4 a.m. for 10 weeks, you know, back to back, they do that on purpose so that you are going to make mistakes.
Yeah.
Because you're sleep deprived. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And also, when it comes to the spelling mistakes and names of things, this is spilling a bit of tea, but you might come up with a name that's really quite good. Like for Jet Pop, I never wanted to call it Jet Pop. Who wants to call it Jet Pop? Do you know what I mean? Terrible, terrible name. I wanted to call it Fly Vacay, and then the strapline was like, what happens on vacay stays on vacay, because it was like an 18 to 30s like Magaluf holiday. Yeah. So I was like, brilliant. Anyway, not allowed. So they come back and say, oh, legal said that that's not allowed, so you have to pick another one. So it's like, so that does ruin it, doesn't it, when you know that? Because you're like, oh.
So do you now look at them and think, oh, you probably had a better idea than that?
Yeah, of course. And I'm just like, they're poor. And then you've just got to own it. You're just like, well, that's the only thing that we're allowed to call it. So let's just get on with it.
Best of a bad situation.
Best of a bad bunch, exactly. So that's something that's like,
do you
juicy.
Really wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning? And do you really, I see this all the time, but I want it from you.
Yeah.
20 minutes to get ready.
Yeah.
Genuinely.
True.
Because you all look amazing.
Well, I feel like episode 7 of the garden task, I only had one eyebrow. That's one of my favourite episodes. But I was just like, you know what? I prioritise sleep in this moment. If I can get an extra 2 minutes of sleep, that's 2 minutes more than the opposition.
Love that.
So I was like, so what if I look like I've been dragged through a bush backwards?
Is it really fun living in the house with everyone?
It is, but I'm an extrovert, but I'm an introverted extrovert.
To like spend time on your own.
I love spending time on my own. And I was in a single bed with another girl who I loved, but you just never get any time on your own. And I feel like for people that do, like, I get my energy from other people, but I have to like take that time to recalibrate, and there was none of that. So you just always like,
every business owner needs that. Yeah. If you're mad on business, you want to read your books, you want downtime, you want time for yourself in your own thoughts.
Yeah, more so now. I definitely used to love being around people a lot more, whereas now I'm a lot more selective with my energy because
got shit to do as well. You've got to be productive.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, it was an amazing experience. It really was. I think it was 5 years ago now, so it was a long time.
Yeah. So my question is, they seem to do really cheesy lines. They seem to have to read their business plans on the treadmill and stuff like that. Yeah. Is it because the people are cheesy that they choose, or is it, come on, say something cheesy? Like sometimes they'll say, I'm the Kim Kardashian of the business world.
Yeah.
What's that?
So I think that is an amalgamation of big characters and also being fed lines a little bit. Like, why don't you say something like this? And by the time you've had like a 12-hour day, you're just like, right, okay, let's just Let's just say that.
Talk to me about the boardroom experience because I see you all sweating.
Yeah.
What's that like?
Terrifying. Genuinely terrifying. There's nothing quite like it.
Because you had Claude and Karen. And Karen, there's nothing worse, that duo.
Yeah, and I feel like you're just put under such a microscope that you can't escape anything that you've done. And just that atmosphere is terrifying.
Is there a lot of stop-starting in that, or is it just we roll?
Pretty much we roll, but for hours and hours and hours.
Really?
Yeah.
Like, what's the longest time you were in the boardroom?
We were in there like maybe 2.5 hours, but you see like 10 minutes of it, which is crazy. But I was 22 when I was on The Apprentice, and I think they've actually changed the age. They've made it so that you have to be 25 to go on it now.
Really?
Yeah, because there was a few young people that went on it, and it is a lot of scrutiny. Like on the final episode, there's 9 million people watching it. There's only 2 people in the final, so that's a lot of eyes on you at a young age. I wouldn't change it, but I do think it's a really good movement that they've changed it to be 25.
Yeah, definitely. So are Karen and Claude as scary as they look?
I'd say Karen is more scary. Claude is a little bit less scary.
Because you've had a moment with Claude, didn't you? Because that is probably one of the most viral moments from
it is.
The Apprentice. Dan was actually watching it yesterday. It was on his FYP on TikTok.
Really?
Yeah. Best moments of The Apprentice.
No way.
Or like funniest.
Love that, because I am not actually on TikTok really. I'm a dinosaur when it comes to TikTok, which is annoying. But that moment, everyone's always like, oh, do you regret that? And I'm like, no, because personality these days, I think, is celebrated a lot more, even than it was 5 years ago. When I did that, it was literally like so shocking. Everyone was like, oh my God, as if she's done that. Whereas nowadays, there's been a bit of a pivot to like personality first in interviews. So, but I did mean to go into the interview and say, good afternoon, Claude. And then plot twist, like it just came out. Yeah, I was just like, and I could tell, like, and I just thought, as soon as I said it, I thought, God, the producers are going to be literally like this.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I could literally hear the friction of the hands rubbing together.
Because them interviews are hardcore.
Yeah.
Again, is that a long process? Is it as terrifying as it looks?
Yeah, very, very terrifying.
There is a nice interviewer on the one that always makes people cry. She wasn't on this year.
Was she not? No. Who was it instead?
Karen.
Karen.
Fuck me, she was awful.
Brutal.
Even if they cried in front of her, she was like, tissue.
And then
pull yourself together. She didn't replace that nice woman, because that was the nice bit, you know, that
finding out about the family,
emotional side of business out of you.
Absolutely. And I'm not a crier, but good Lord, like she did make me cry, because I think it's just like you've been grilled by however many people for hours and hours, and then like sometimes she might just throw you a nice thing. Like obviously I was 22, and I think she said to me like, you know what, it is impressive, and you know, and I was just like, oh yeah, and that was all she said. But
I think that's needed.
It was.
Was Claude one of the scarier ones?
Yeah, nothing gets past him.
No,
there's no stone unturned. But it is a business show at the end of the day, and I think that gets lost sometimes in that.
Do you know why I think it might get lost? I think this every year, this seems to be the same business plans every year. Every year they've had someone who has a sweet business.
Yes.
Every year.
Agreed. And to be fair though, one of the girls did actually win, didn't she, when they chose the 2 winners that year?
Yeah.
Yeah, there does tend to be quite a similar profile.
Lots of desserts.
And I think actually if you've got something different these days, that's a real winning ticket to actually getting on the show.
Because he's had 2 dessert. I'm sure he's had like 2 or 3 dessert winners.
He has. So. And I think someone needs to shake up the format. So I'm hoping that next year there's something that's really out there. And I think that's why maybe I like got on the show, because my business was something different. And I think that's a top tip that I would say. If anyone's got an out there business, but maybe they're a bit scared and they don't feel like they've been doing it for a long time, don't worry about that. The fact that your business is in a different field will catapult you onto the show anyway. Because it's crying out for something like that.
It is.
You know, like an agricultural business, or like your business, or like anything like that. I think it's just different. And because
one of his most successful businesses, she didn't even win the show. She came third Tropic.
Yes.
She came third. She's actually come out of business with him now. I don't know how she's done that, because it must be a huge kind of big thing. But she came third, sent Lord Sugar's wife products, and he was like, this is amazing.
And
I use that skincare every day, and it's one of his biggest businesses.
Yes, absolutely. And that it's like One Direction. They didn't win the show, but they are absolutely killing it, aren't they? So yeah, that's something as well. Like, it's not, for me, it wasn't about winning. It was about going on, growing, exactly. And it was never for
pushing
my
yourself out your comfort zone.
It was never for my personal profile. It was more for just being a human sponge and absorbing information.
Did you think you'd come second?
No. Oh my God.
No.
Even my dad was like, right, try and get to final 5. That's the goal. And then I hadn't prepared for actually being in the final, because every week, everyone that was on the show will attest to this, I used to pack my suitcase like fully. No one else would. They'd just like, because they wouldn't think that they were actually going. Whereas me, toothbrush, like everything was in the suitcase, because I just always thought I was going to get fired, because I used to really just put myself out there, which meant that I was always in the firing line.
If you're always putting yourself as project manager week in, week out.
Absolutely. But yeah, I feel like that's...
were you in the bottom a lot?
No, I actually wasn't. I got brought back in once.
Is that it?
And then I was in there by default because there was obviously smaller groups of people by that time. But the time that I got brought back, I deserved to be brought back. I was literally like, if they hadn't have brought me back, I would have been like, I'm fucking staying. Because come on. Like, I fucked up.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's all about self-awareness. And I was ready to argue my corner, because my biggest argument throughout The Apprentice and then afterwards is like, if you put yourself out there, obviously you're going to face, scrutiny. Obviously you're going to be in the firing line, but at least you've put yourself in a position to be noticed
100%.
and to actually,
he does pick up on the ones though that don't, put themselves out there. That's a bit of a pet hate for him, I think.
Absolutely.
You've never been project manager. What you playing at?
Meanwhile, I was there like, I'll do it. I'll do it. Me. You know what I mean? Even though I was absolutely grossly underqualified. But I love to say like, oh, I'm the target market for this. They always used to take the piss, because in every task I'd be like, I'm the target market. I'm the target market. Like, I just thought I was the target market for everything.
For it.
And also the fact that I buy absolutely everything, so I am the target market for everything. I'm a marketeer's wet dream.
Love that.
Yeah, on holiday when you go down like a strip and there's people selling things, I will start the strip and then by the end of it I've got about 55 carry bags.
Braiding your hair.
Oh yeah, I'm a nightmare for that. But supporting the local community, do you know what I mean?
I love that, small businesses.
Absolutely.
So just before we end the Apprentice chat, tell me about the audition process, because that for me, I think would be one of the scariest bits.
Yeah. So there was a lot of different stages, which I actually tried to Google like what the stages were, but there wasn't that much online, because they obviously try and keep it top secret. But it was very intense. There was multiple different auditions. I did one in Manchester, and then I had to go down to London. So yeah, there was a lot of hoops to jump through. And I never actually thought, no one actually ever thinks that they're going to get on it, because there are so many people that go for it. But I think not like being fine if you get on it and fine if you don't was the best standpoint to be.
Yeah,
and
you've gone through the process.
Yeah, exactly. And I met some really good people with really inspiring businesses in the process. And then when they did actually call me to say that I was going to be on it, I was literally like, what? Like, I could not believe it, because they have reserves for every candidate. And funnily enough, one of the girls that won, the sweet girl actually, Sarah Lynn, she was a reserve. So someone pulled out last minute and she got to go on it and she won. So yeah, so that's an inspiring story, in that like you can, even if you like not selected for something like the first time round, like trust the process.
Keep going. Yeah. Whatever's meant to be will be.
Absolutely. So yeah, it definitely aged me 25 years. The whole process in general. In fact, that was something that like people loved to tweet about, because obviously I was 22 and they were like, Camilla's 22, like must have been a hard paper round. Everyone was like, couldn't get their head around that I was 22, because I did look old, to be fair. The camera was not kind.
You are very mature and you're very business minded.
Yeah, I feel like it's catching up to me now, because I'm 27. People can't like, you know what I mean? I'm like not mature for me anymore. But I was at the time. I was.
What was the hardest thing about the whole experience for you? Interviews, audition, like anything?
I think it was not having any communication with the outside world.
So nothing.
No phone.
Not even one day you get your phone.
No, nothing. for 12 weeks. Like, it's a long time. You don't see friends and family for 12 weeks. You're allowed 1 5-minute phone call a week to one person. So
it's like you're in prison.
Yeah, it was. I know. Literally. They were really strict with everything. No reading material, no music, because it was seen to like motivate you. It genuinely felt like I was incarcerated. It did. And when I came
feel like
out,
you're losing your mind a bit.
A little bit. And you're so distorted from reality. Even like your business, like you forget why you're even there, because you're like, why am I here?
Do I sell sweets
What is
now?
this? Yeah, exactly. Yeah. What? Who am I? So that was the hardest thing. Just, yeah. And also having to like, not lie, but having to fabricate the truth as to where I was for 12 weeks. So I wasn't allowed to say.
No wonder people are spelling stuff wrong.
Exactly.
I bet words didn't even look right.
Yeah. So, yeah, and that's why I think I find it difficult. And that's why I think I didn't watch this year, because I can't watch like
when you
Twitter, Instagram, people ripping people to pieces. And I know it's entertainment to an extent, but it's real people, and I think it's so hard. It's so much harder than you think it is. So I can't watch.
Hard enough to get on it and then do the process.
Yeah,
and then...
exactly. So that's why I've like kind of, I might watch next year. I've watched every other year apart from this year.
Yeah.
So I just kept so quiet about it this year.
Are you still in touch with like a lot of people that were on your
Yeah,
season?
we're still in a group chat, which is nice, but we've not seen each other for a while. Although I do keep in contact with some of the girls, which is really nice.
Really
and
good.
we all do rally. Say if we've got like a business launch or like a masterclass or whatever,
help
like
each other out.
They'll all share it on the stories and whatnot. So that's a really nice sense of like family, because we all lived together for 12 weeks. So it's a very dysfunctional family, but
in prison.
Yeah, yes, in the Apprentice prison, exactly.
What the hell?
Yeah.
So what was your best like thing you've taken from it? Best experience, best moment?
Yeah.
You know, the growth.
I would definitely just say that the experience taught me that like if you put yourself out there, put yourself in a position for opportunities to find you, because I very easily wouldn't have gone to the second audition because I was actually away on holiday at the time. I just got there, came back, but my family were very split. They were like, half of them were like, you need to go, and then half of them were like, there's still, I think that at
Get
that
a pina
stage,
colada.
yeah, go to the breakfast buffet, gorge yourself, and there was still like 5,000 people in the process then. But I just thought to myself, you know what? At least then I can say that I've tried and I've, you know, put myself out there. And if I don't get it, I don't get it.
Book another flight.
But yeah, exactly. So I'm just really, I think, take the chance or always regret it, you know.
I mean, you got on it,
Yeah,
you came
exactly.
second.
So that's like, and it doesn't always happen like that. There's been several things that I've done since then that haven't actually paid off. But like, eventually it's the small 1% sacrifices and risks that accumulate, and I think that that's a snowball effect.
You know what's amazing? You got the full apprentice experience because you came second.
Yeah.
So you've got that moment where you've got to present your entire business to all these incredible people who, you know, like, how was that?
Yeah, it was, that was scary, because I think the last thing that I'd done in front of that many people was at the school carol service. But obviously I didn't let them know that, because as soon as you show weakness in a show like that, it's a storyline. So that like they'd constantly be like, are you nervous? Are you nervous? Like, it's a big thing, you know, pretty nervous, aren't you? And I was like, no. So you had to like fake it till you make it. Like, I know that that's a really controversial opinion, but I just had to do that, because
you're not just in front of all these successful business people. You're on, you know, do you know you're on, do you feel like you know the cameras are there and you're going to be on TV?
You know, no, because I didn't actually allow myself that level of pressure, because it was enough that there was 400 people and industry experts watching. So I tried not to think about that added layer of 9 million people as well. But yeah, I think I just needed tunnel vision.
While it's on my mind, this might sound like a stupid question, but when they go to where you've got a market with like Asda and shit like that, like, do they really place orders, or is it hypothetical?
Yeah, no, they're hypothetical, but they have to put themselves in a position of like, it is your
this is what
money.
We would do.
You? Yeah. But yeah, I was like that, because I was like, do we benefit from any of that?
Is my brand actually going to
Asda? Imagine. So no, it's a good question though, because I always wondered that as well. But no, they're hypothetical orders.
Yeah, nice. Right. So, what would you take from the whole experience? What would you kind of recommend people do if they want to apply? Is there any advice you can give
Yeah,
on The Apprentice?
I'd say be authentically yourself, present them with a business that is a bit different, and be be yourself to the point where like you're not hiding behind a mask or like trying to be the most polished version of yourself. Like I wasn't the most polished version of myself on the show, but I think that that's what kind of comes across as like authentic as opposed to second guessing what they want to hear. Just like stay true to yourself and don't um don't get distracted by the aftermath of the show, like because it's easy to say yes to absolutely everything
Yeah.
and then get distracted from like your business, because there's a
Yeah.
unique opportunity in the show. It opens a lot of doors if you say yes to the right things, but if you just
Yeah.
become a general yes gal and you just go into everything, like it really dilutes the impact that you can have.
Yeah.
So and also like don't think that you have to like get a PR team if you do get on the show. Like you can do it yourself. I've always done it myself and it's like it's been pretty good.
So, I feel like you're going to say, yeah, but are you really glad you did it? And would you
Mm,
recommend people go for it?
absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
And don't wait until you're the finished version of yourself. You don't have to be polished. Like get started and get perfect later. I've always thought that, it's better just to get yourself out there and
That.
refine as you go.
Yeah, love that. Right, let's chat about you because I feel like since the show, you've just become this boss. If you're enjoying the Not Always a Princess podcast, first of all, thank you. But second of all, come and follow us on Instagram, subscribe on YouTube, follow us on TikTok. On the Instagram, we'll be posting lots of behind the scenes, sneak previews of guests, get ready with me's, chick flick quizzes, and I want to kind of build a little bit of a community on there where we do lots of 90s chick flick stuff. I love my quizzes, as you all know. I started them in lockdown and I've moved them over to the podcast. So if you love stuff like that, yeah, make sure you come and follow the Instagram, and I hope you're enjoying. I feel like since the show, you've just become this boss, cringy boss babe in the business world. Like, let's chat about you. What have you kind of been up to since the show? And
Yeah, so I used the show as a platform to go into consultancy, which has been amazing. Like, I absolutely love it. I feel like it's one of those really fulfilling jobs where I can apply what I've learned and help other businesses. I have got a soft spot for small businesses, but I have,
yes, because that's how we got in contact,
yeah,
because you were working with one of
absolutely.
your clients. You dropped me a
Yeah,
message.
absolutely. And I feel like using products as currency. So that's always been my biggest marketing tool. Because if you can send something out to someone and, get them to post about it, get them to enjoy it, and if they've got the right audience, then it's a really good way to use your
Yeah.
product and not actually spend on marketing, if that makes sense. So yeah, no, it's been a journey. I've been doing consultancy now for 5 years and I've worked with some amazing brands.
Yeah.
And I like to think like apprentice or not, I would have got to that point. But I do think and I acknowledge that The Apprentice was maybe an elevator. So it probably
Yes.
fast tracked me by like 2 years, let's say. But I've always been super driven. I've always, wanted to do business from when I was like 7. I used to like go around to neighbors' houses, like selling eggs that my chickens had laid, do all
I
the
love
branding
that.
and all of that. So yeah, I've worked with loads of businesses and there's nothing quite like seeing a product come to fruition from concept to reality. And that
Yes.
is my cardio at the minute, just like product development, working with brands, and creating products that are gonna, and service-based businesses as well, that are gonna really disrupt the industry.
Yeah, I love that. Do lots of varieties of businesses come to you? And
Yeah, everything from, like dessert businesses to protein brands to like I've had all sorts. Like it's fabulous. And just helping young people get into the realm of business is really rewarding.
so you went to uni. What
Yes.
did you do at uni?
I did law at uni.
Did you? You clever
Yeah, I
clogs.
know.
Look at
I always
you.
forget that I did, but I hated it because for me
So
it was
many
like,
people say that.
yeah, I
Yeah.
just think I watched too many episodes of Suits and was like, yes, this is the path for me. But it was really good for life skills, uni.
Did you live at
Um,
uni?
lived at uni. I went to Manchester actually. Lived there. And actually, when I look back to me at uni, I was a completely different person. sixth form, really geeky, loved to learn. And then I went to uni and lost my way a bit. Like I went to 2 9 a.m. lectures the whole time.
Really?
Yeah.
Were you a party gal?
I did go out. It's all a blur, but I do remember going out quite a bit in like freshers. And I think I did just lose my way a little bit at uni because I wasn't enjoying my course. I didn't really make that many friends actually, which was really not like me because I am a gregarious person and I love to get on with people. But I think for me, if I was to say to anyone like now, I come from a family where people do go to uni. That's the done thing. But I think that I would say,
I never went to uni.
Yeah.
Never did it.
I wouldn't say go to uni. Like from my experience, I think we're sold a dream. And
I think it's just so hard, even from a GCSE level, to just choose what you want to do. It's and to spend all that money at uni and be like, I'll try this.
Yeah.
It's a big decision.
There's other ways to get the life lessons. So like going traveling or whatnot. I'd always say go traveling over going to uni. You build up the same toolkit. But minus the debt. Well, it depends if you're a big spender, to be fair, when you go away. But yeah, like if I do have kids, I will say to them, like, do what you want to do. But I wouldn't say that going to uni has made me the person that I am. I would say it's more the experiences outside of that I have.
So where did the goats and the farming and stuff like that come from?
So I grew up on a bit of a small holding, like a small farm in Blackburn. And like my family, like they've always said, we want you to learn responsibility. And that was by raising like animals. So we were like Noah's Ark. Like, we got 2 of everything, literally. And I remember for my dad's 40th, my mum bought him like 40 animals. So there was like 8 quails, 2 ostriches. And she was like trying to get to 40. Towards the end, I was like, what are you going to do? Buy him 4 ants to make it up to 40. Do you know what I mean?
That is amazing.
Yeah, they are funny. So like I've been brought up around like loads of animals. So I am a farm girl really at the heart of it.
Did they hit the 40 animal mark?
They did. They hit
amazing.
the 40. So the goats were part of that. And
the goats for your little children,
they were my thing. Like I've always had goats.
You still have the goats?
Yeah, still got the goats. They live at my parents' house. But I do go and see them. I go for visitations.
Yes.
They've still got their own Instagram, the goatgram _ Everyone's always really like they got loads of followers from The Apprentice. I don't ever post on it anymore, but they need their own like TikTok. They need that.
Yes, goat TikTok.
I want them at my wedding. Like I genuinely, I don't know who like. I don't know if anyone's ever done that, but like they need to be the ring bearers. I always say that, and I'm not even joking.
What with your little sausage dog in the middle?
Yeah, it'd be an absolute stampede.
No, you need to get the 40 animals there. Come
Imagine.
on.
Well, half of them are dead now, love, but yeah, it was a while ago. My dad's 56, so you can imagine. They're dropping like flies. No, we've got a plot in the garden. I feel like everyone's got a plot if you've got a bit of land where you just bury all the animals.
Sorry, it's really
do you know what I mean? If you were to like dig up part of there's just loads of like dead animals under there. Dad's had to do a new plot. He's like, there's no room there.
You know how crazy this is? Oh, stop.
Yeah, I know.
Can you just tell me what the animals were? Because this is like the best bit.
So there was quails. And then we had 2 Dexter cows, which are like miniature cows. And then what else did we have?
Not killing anyone else. What the fuck?
I know.
They're all dead now. They're under.
They are. They're all under the patio. No, I'm joking. Along with a few ex-boyfriends. No, teasing. Although my dad, if he was to be in charge of the ex-boyfriends, they would be buried under the patio.
Definitely. You've got a good relationship with your parents.
So good, yeah. Really, really good. There's actual tears there.
It's actually killed me.
Yeah, I have a really good relationship with the parents, which is good. They love to grill the. She's not.
I've gone. I've lost it.
To me, it's so normal as well. I'm just like, yeah, they're all buried. They're all dead and gone. Stop.
It's because I'm imagining 4 little ants buried under the house. Why am I imagining
in little
that?
caskets.
Oh my God, but the goats are still alive.
They're still
and
alive. They're going, much to my father's dismay. Goats live till they're about 20. He's like, fucking hell. He's like, when are you going to move out to somewhere that you can have the goats? Because obviously at the minute, I live in an apartment.
Yeah, in Manchester you do. Yeah. You're a Manchester girl. We met each other at the Manchester market.
Yes, we did.
You messaged me for a brand and then I was like, whoa, that's Camilla. I think I I'd have said hello to you even if you didn't message me.
It's I love that about Manchester. Like you just walk down Deansgate and you feel like Mrs. Manchester because you're like, hey.
Yes, yeah.
When you're a sociable person, which I would imagine, like I'm getting the vibe you are as well. It adds on 20 minutes to every journey because you have like chats. I just can't stop chatting. Like that is literally my toxic trait, just talking to absolutely anyone.
Oh yeah,
I tell Uber drivers that I love them on the daily.
Do you?
I'm like, love you, bye babes. But yeah.
So do you enjoy living in Manchester? Do you prefer it to Blackburn?
Yes, I think with Blackburn, it served me at the time, but I actually think you fall into a danger of like mixing with the same people and you're in a bit of an echo chamber where the same views are circulating all the time, and it's nice just to get out and to see a little bit more of the world. And I don't think like there's a quote that goes around on Instagram all the time, like the best thing you can do to yourself is like get out of your hometown. I don't believe that in its entirety, and that I think you should get out of the hometown for like periods of time, but like everyone's different. Like a lot of people thrive in the hometown, so it's completely down to the individual. But for me, it was a good thing to leave.
You live with your little sausage dog.
Yes. Oh, you know what? I am living out my childhood dreams.
What's his name?
Am. Norris.
No,
I'm a
raging names come
Coronation Street fan.
Oh,
the guy who owned the corner shop.
Of course we know who Norris is. He's an icon.
Exactly. And he was a grafter. He owned his corner shop. So I was like, well, that's a self-fulfilling prophecy
in his little
for my dog.
In his little hometown, Weatherfield.
Is
it
he
Weatherfield?
Dead now? I think he's also dead.
No, he's not.
He is.
I think Norris is from near me, actually. From us, near us.
Is he?
Pretty sure he's a little northerner.
So he lives on in Norris's legacy, in my dog's legacy. So
love that.
But it really does ruin the street cred actually when I'm out and about and I'm like, Norris!
And he's really cute.
He's so cute. I actually think he needs to be in the Guinness Book of Records because I genuinely think that I have the only dog in the world. He's one now, but he's still a puppy.
Yeah.
Like he's got a puppy face. So he's Peter Pan in dog form.
Oh,
so
he never grows up.
No, he has never, honestly, he's not changed since he was a puppy.
Not aged.
He's not aged. He's Benjamin Button. No, he does age, doesn't he? So yeah, he's Peter Pan. And I love that. Yeah, everyone's like, oh my God, is he like, have you just got him? I'm like, no, he's 7 in dog years. So yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, Norris is the love of my life.
Love it. So I follow you on the gram, and you are like the most motivational person ever. You've been swanning it up in swanning it up. Do you like that? Swan. You've been swanning it up in Barbados.
Yes.
Check you out. You seem to surround yourself with this is kind of what I'm getting from your Instagram.
Yeah.
Like you surround yourself with good people who are kind of like you, because I'm like that. You said on your Instagram that you went to Barbados, you were in bed by 9 p.m. like little grandma. Yeah. That is so me. So me. Love a drink every now and again, love a cocktail, but I am very much like, because are you part of the, you're not part of the 5 a.m. club, are you?
No, I'm not. You know, I used to be, I've done the whole like Robin Sharma, read the book, 5 a.m. club, and it's just not for me. It really isn't. And I think that like we have to ignore these extrinsic pressures from like hustle culture that you have to be up at 5 a.m. in order to be successful, in order to like seize the day and carpe that fucking diem. Absolutely not.
5 a.m. is graft.
No,
it's early.
Not. I think it's ridiculous actually. Like fine, if it works for some people, great. But if you wake up at 8, 9, 10, if that works for you, do you. And I think that like it's the same, there's this narrative that in society you have to get up at 5 or you have to get up early, otherwise you're a failure or you're not
the millionaire lifestyle,
exactly.
Isn't it?
And same with like these pressures, like by this age you should have this, like all of these timelines that are thrust onto us from an early age.
We were just talking about the Forbes thing, weren't we, with the 30 age?
Yeah, I just think like Forbes 30 under 30, like we need to have a Forbes 40 under 40 or a 70 under 70. Like why are we restricted by age or the time we get up or how much money we earn? Or, you know, I feel like it's a lot of the time, like the biggest thing, the most pivotal thing that I've learned is just do what feels right for you and genuinely just like everyone whose opinions that you care about will, like, it sounds depressing, but they will literally, you'll die, they'll die, and then all you've got to show for it is that you lived a life for other people. And I think that that's really, once you realise that, like, as humans, we're quite egotistical in that we think that people are thinking about us all the time and they're thinking about what we're doing and they're judging us. A lot of the time, they're not thinking about us at all. And you need to
their own
free yourself.
insecurities, their own thing going on.
Yeah, they don't care about you. So like the biggest thing for me was like realizing like no one actually gives a fuck. It's only us projecting that people are talking about us. Yes, you might feature in the odd group chat. Like, who cares? At least like they're talking about you.
Yes.
Like, who cares? Give them something to talk about. That's always been
that.
like, there's a would you rather question. Like, would you rather no one ever speaks about you, or like people were always speaking about you? And like, it's completely subjective choice. But I think The Apprentice helped with that view of like, people are going to talk about you regardless, so give them a show or a
and
story.
a reason to.
Yeah,
100%.
exactly.
Oh my God, you've got such a good outlook on life.
Thank you.
Again, from the gram, this is kind of what I've got. You love to set yourself challenges, goals.
Yeah.
You're an absolute go-getter, aren't you?
I feel it's weird when people, because I always, when you're like running your Instagram page, I never think about like what it comes across as. So that's actually really interesting.
You come across as a very motivational, very.
Thank you.
You do actually come across very 5 a.m. club.
Really?
You do, because you're so
interesting. Well, yeah, full disclaimer. Like this morning, I woke up at like, I think it was like 8 o'clock. So yeah, let's dispel that.
Love that.
I don't want people to ever think that like,
but not in a bad way. In a very like, oh, she's just got. You're just a bundle of energy.
That's good. Yeah. Thank
Little
you.
grandma in Barbados.
Yes, I am 27 going on 87. But I do love a challenge. I do love a goal, something that just gets me out of my comfort zone.
Let's chat about your goals. What kind of goals are we thinking?
So I just did the boxing fight, which went against everything my DNA. I won. I would not be sat here and we wouldn't be talking about it if I didn't win. Because as much as I was like, it's the taking part that counts, it absolutely was not. In this case, it wasn't. If I hadn't have won, I wouldn't have left the house.
Okay.
Because I am competitive, very competitive.
You're doing it for that, you're doing it for that.
And I didn't, to be fair, I didn't do it for the win, but I did it because it was the scariest thing that for me I could do, like punching someone in the face. It goes against the grain of like, of being human. I don't think that like, I'm a lover, not a fighter. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
So I feel like I just needed to do that to tick it off. I did the marathon last year, the boxing fight this year. And yeah, I'm running out of challenges actually. And
never.
Yeah, no,
never.
I am. I've done quite a lot of things. I think I just need to chill because my poor friends and family, my mum's like, please just relax. Like the amount of stuff that I put them through, like even watching The Apprentice, it's not nice, like always watching like even the publics, because I got ripped to shreds for loads of things, and watching that like as a mother or a father or whatever, the marathon, obviously that was quite tough.
Are they the first people you go to when you decide to do something? And you're like, Mum, I'm going to be in a boxing fight.
Yeah, they were like, what are you doing? Like genuinely, they just, and that's the one thing actually that the parents weren't that enthusiastic about. And I think they were watching it like this.
Oh, did they come to the fight though?
Go. Yeah. Oh. Yeah, I have to have that accountability, and that's something that I'll say. When you do something or when you say you're going to do something, I always tell absolutely everyone, because the more people you tell, the more likely you are to do it. And everyone takes the piss, because when I did sign up to the marathon, I'd be in a coffee shop and they'd be like, what's new with you? I'd be like, I'm doing the marathon. And it's like, but I had to tell everyone, otherwise I wouldn't do it.
And you always do follow through. Is there any time you've never followed through with it? You've decided, I'm going to do a boxing fight, and then you haven't? Or do you you do it?
No, and the reason I do it is because I tell people, so that I get rid of that way out. It's so important, it really is, and that's why I write things down as well. But yeah, the boxing fight was probably up there with the proudest moments, like even more so maybe than the Apprentice, because the Apprentice was kind of like, it was in my DNA a bit, in that like I'm from a business background and I enjoyed the show and all of that, whereas boxing, never done it before, never been in a fight, like nothing. So I think that was more of a scary thing than The Apprentice even, which is mad.
How did you even get into it? Like, where did you go or look to do that?
I came across a gym in Manchester that one of my friends, her boyfriend, owns. And with everything, I try and do it to the best of my ability. So I fully went for it with meal prep. I had to lose like 7 kg to fight, which was a lot. In like 8 weeks, I got myself good coaches, because I feel like a lot of the time people do try and like scrimp and save on things. And I get that like, funds aren't always readily available, but I think to really excel, even in a business sense as well.
I was literally saying the same thing yesterday.
You have to outsource to people that know more about something than what you do. So like a lot of the businesses that I work with, I say to them, like, get someone that is an expert at TikTok, like outsource that, because the time that it's going to take you to learn that and do that, like you can't be so busy working in the business that you don't have time to work on it. And that's a massive key to unlocking the next level of growth, to outsource, even as like on a freelance basis. Don't employ people, work with people on a freelance basis and like hone into their external skills.
Yeah.
And that's something that I always try and do.
When I first set up my business, I was short for funds, and I was buying like really cheap, like nasty costumes, when actually the end goal was really good costumes. So actually I went, no, scrap that. I'm going to spend more time buying the crap costumes to then replace them with the good.
Yeah.
What I did was one costume at a time.
Good.
But really, really high end.
Yeah,
so I started with the most popular character.
Yeah.
And then as soon as work came in, I'd get another one and another one, rather than just doing the scrimping and scraping
Absolutely.
thing.
And I think that's really good. You've got to identify, follow the money. And the money was going to come by
if
people
you have
booking.
Better stuff.
Exactly. Yeah. So I think that that's the real unlock mindset. And you've got it as well, which is really good to see.
Personal question, actually. So sometimes when I'm in business, especially since doing the whole content creating, influencing, I always used to focus on my business, and then this came into it, and then the podcast comes into it, and then brands that want to work with you all year and everything. Yeah. How do you deal with getting overwhelmed and being like a scatty brain or ADHD or anything like that?
Yeah.
What's your advice?
Yeah, and I do think that I have never been diagnosed with ADHD, but everyone that ever meets me, they're like, come on, you've got ADHD.
Yes.
And I'm like, yeah, potentially. I think it's hard because I'm in two frames of mind all the time. Like I used to try and do everything at once, but the issue is when you try and do everything gets done mediocre.
Yeah.
So I actually think like it's good to focus on and divide your time up by the things that are the most high value. So say I've got like 4 or 5 projects on, or I'm doing like speaking things, because I like do speaking things for schools or unis or big businesses. I look at the one that's like the most high value, whether that's it brings me the most joy or it's the most lucrative in terms of like finance.
Sometimes you can slip on that though. Do you know, you can sometimes put the creative things before the you know, or a speeding van's come in for me like 4 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And I'm like, podcast, woo!
Yes.
And Dan's like, the speeding van's getting worse.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't the speeding fan, it was a parking fan.
Yeah.
You know, let's knuckle down and contact the company that you got that from.
And that's hard because there's a book that I read and it's called Eat the Frog, and it says to always do the hardest things first. And that's something that's difficult to do, but super rewarding, because if you think about it, in the morning, I fall into this trap. I love to like browse my emails, action the easy ones. But if you do the hardest thing
Favorite the hard ones and leave them.
Save that for later. But if you do the hard thing first, the day is only going to get easier after that. And they say the same whether, you know, I would never do this because I'm not a psychopath, but start the day with a freezing cold shower.
Oh, that's becoming more and more common, isn't it?
No thanks. Absolutely not for me. You are the weakest link. Goodbye. Anyone that does that. But I get it, because if you do that cold shower, everything that you do after that, whether it's an arm workout or whatever, it's going to be easy compared to that first thing that you did that was difficult. So I think there's something to be taken from maybe tackling a hard thing first thing in the morning, because like it's grasp the nettle, it stings, but then once it's done, like you're only gonna catapult and enjoy your day. So that's still a work in progress for me, but I think you've got to be careful not to become a jack of all trades, master of none.
Yeah.
But then I also, on the converse side of things, I think it's actually maybe better to be a 7 out of 10 on a multitude of things than a 10 out of 10 in one area.
Ooh, I like that.
It's
Why
subjective.
do you think that?
Because I think having a vast array of skill sets, whether it's people skills, numerical skills, so you know, emotional, all of these things. If you're a 7 out of 10 on all of those, you can be more of a chameleon and be adaptable in different scenarios. Whereas if you only focus on one thing, then you'll struggle in other areas.
And it doesn't potentially doesn't open more doors, you know, if you're just stuck on the same thing forever.
So it's a fine balance, isn't it? But I completely get what you mean with like feeling a bit overwhelmed sometimes. I do get that. And I think sometimes I just take a moment to pause.
I speak to myself during the day. I'm like, you literally just said to yourself, Lauren, you were going to go and get toilet paper. You've completely missed it.
Yeah.
And got fucking bananas.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Yeah.
But I will say that to myself out loud and go,
Yeah.
what just happened?
Yeah.
It's like a blank.
Yeah. I think writing it down is the key. Like, do you have like...
Love lists.
Yeah. I think that's a female thing, you know. I don't know a lot of boys that...
Do you know what? A mindset coach, actually. She's from where we're from. She spoke to me.
Her.
Jess, yeah. She spoke to me about female energy and male energy. Female energy can be very creative and very lists and airy, fairy, floaty. And then your male energy's like, gotta do this, gotta do that type thing. Yeah.
I do think there's a massive difference. And I would actually... have you got any boys coming on the podcast?
Not yet.
No, I feel like you need
them.
a boy like perspective on things for sure, because they are a different breed.
Yes.
But I've never met a boy with a personal planner.
No.
When I do,
people take the piss out of me. I buy notebook upon notebook upon planner upon planner and don't finish them.
Yeah.
And they're just...
No, I've got loads as well. And every ex-boyfriend that I've ever been with, I've always bought them the same notepad and they never use it.
I bought Dan a Hufflepuff one from Harry Potter and he's literally just keeps using it.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah,
he's well trained.
Well, yeah, but like he only needs the one and I'm like, oh, that notebook's been and gone. Like, get a new one.
No, I go through one a week because my writing's Times New Roman size 95, basically. But yeah, it's one of those things like you learn as you go to how to manage the projects, and eventually you just start to learn which ones are the most important and rank them in terms of, right, this is a must do, this can probably be done tomorrow.
Oh yeah, instead of writing a generic list, let's write a top priorities and
they say that you should never put more than 3 things on your to-do list because our brains best perform to 3 things, and then anything else is a bonus, and then you feel positively reinforced, which is good.
Can the listeners have a bit of advice on how to get out of that 9 to 5 hating their job mindset and let's set up our own business? But where do we start? Because I've got my advice on that, which I gave on a solo episode that I did. Yeah. But you know, you've done The Apprentice, you've done businesses.
Yeah. I think one thing that I want to say is as well, like social media and Instagram, there's this narrative that a 9 to 5 is really bad, and it really isn't. Like for some people, it's you know what they like to do. It's a routine, and there's people with different brains that are better suited to that. And sometimes I think to myself, like, I would quite enjoy the routine.
The routine.
Yeah, for sure. So I just want to say that first and foremost, that like I think having a business is quite glamorized. Like it's not all glamorous. Like I'll randomly find like a Cheerio in my hair from like 4 days ago, like, which is just never a vibe.
Yeah.
And it's just not, it's not glamorous. Like you're in the trenches a lot of the time, like
you are.
accountancy, all of that shit.
Oh,
like, it's like coming to my year end at the minute, and it is like, it's not all that it's cut out to be. And I know I'm supposed to say like, oh, it's amazing, but I feel like it's really important to be like real in that aspect. But if you do want to escape it, then I would say that at the start, do something that you can maybe do as a side hustle, test the market, make sure that there is a demand for what you're putting out there. And have
passion for it. And because the more passion you've got for something, I feel like the more consistent you'll be. And for me personally, consistency is massive.
Yeah.
Even if it's you want to start a YouTube channel, I say to my followers all the time, I'm going to do YouTube. I'm going to do YouTube. One of them messaged me and said, you're not the one, you're on. Come on.
I tried that as well. If you've not actually tried to start a YouTube channel, are you even human?
Yeah.
And I annoy myself because it's like loads of content coming soon. 3 years, there's one video.
Yeah.
Oh no, but yeah, it's the 1% efforts that eventually accumulate, and you know that unlock the new levels. But I do just think like be consistent, show up. Like you said, be passionate, because if you're just doing it for monetary gain, it's like it has to, and I'm not saying that it shouldn't be financially rewarding, because it should, because eventually that passion will run out if you're not financially motivated by it.
Yeah.
But if it's like a product, you know, set up an Etsy page, set up like Amazon. You can self-publish on Amazon now, like so easily. So yeah, there's a lot of different ways that you can start up a business, and TikTok is a great way to learn.
Massive.
I've seen loads of like really, really informative videos on how to start a business on there. I don't go on, like I don't really post on there, but it's a great learning tool. There's so much free marketing and
I am
free.
massively into Dragon's Den at the minute with Stephen because him and Tucker are Tucker Sullivan are going head to head because he's like, fuck off with your TikTok, and he's like, TikTok's the one, and you're ancient, and you're
a dinosaur. Yeah. Love Stephen Bartlett. Wow.
It's the first thing he comes out of. He's like, social media. I'll use social
media. Yeah. No, I think he's really been good for shaking up the profile of Dragon's Den for sure. He's been a gem.
Yeah. 100%. Last thing I wanted to mention before we play a little groovy game is, and this is personal really, I just love your tattoos. Can you tell us what a couple of them mean?
Of course.
It's quite a groovy thing you've got going on.
Yeah, you know what? I'm not edgy at all. I'm about as edgy as a circle. But I feel like the tattoos make me like borderline. I'm on the borderline now. Yeah, so I've got loads of like little tattoos because
they remind me of that movie with Justin Timberlake, Time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's the best film ever. It actually, I talk about it all the time, you know, because I think it's a really good, imagine we went like for a coffee and instead of it being £3, it costs you 3 minutes of your life. Great way of thinking. Yeah, so this one is the marathon distance. So they're all like either memories that I've got or things that I live life by or goals that I've ticked off. So marathon distance.
We've not got a live, laugh, love then.
No, I have not. I've got a bath mat of that though. No, I'm joking, I haven't. And yeah, just like little things that I like to live life by.
So what's this one?
Self-respect over feelings.
Love.
Peace over drama we've got.
Love.
More life, which is like basically a judged up way of saying YOLO, isn't it?
Yes.
We've got monkey with a plan. This one I like because it's like, don't take life too seriously. We're all just monkeys with a plan, which can be seen as reductive. But I just think it's so like, yeah, if you simplify life, like that's all we are.
Yeah.
Like, why do we like stress the small stuff? We're all just monkeys with a plan.
Love that.
What's this one? Oh, ask for forgiveness, not permission. That's more of like a just do it. Do you know what I mean? Don't overthink things. Just go for it. New levels, new devils. So
these are amazing.
Thank you so much.
And you're just going to keep going and keep going and keep going.
Well, I don't think
you were so like a typewriter.
I know. I think I'm going to stop now because I've got.
Did you get one for the fight?
No, I haven't yet.
That's a good one.
I don't know what to get, really.
I think that's a good one.
Killer Camilla.
Killer Camilla.
Maybe.
I love that.
Maybe I'll get that like there.
Oh,
yeah.
I
mean? No, I'm joking.
No, absolutely not.
That's absolutely not happening. But yes, no. Have you got any tattoos?
None.
You're a blank canvas.
I'm a blank canvas. I do want a little basic Mickey Mouse somewhere.
Yeah.
A little Mickey Mouse icon.
Once you start, though, you won't stop. Like,
no.
I always thought that I'd never get tattoos. But then I think I've got like 30 now.
Just a little Disney icon and a little Harry Potter icon will do me, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. But tattoos, and again, that's another thing. Like, there used to be, you know, you couldn't get jobs because of tattoos, whereas nowadays they're celebrated and they're in the self-expression.
Yeah, love that. Right, we're going to finish with a little spin the wheel game.
Yay, I love games.
So this game is literally spin the wheel and we'll just ask you a random question of whatever number it lands on.
Like it. Okay, wonderful. Here's something I prepared earlier.
Yes.
Oh.
Okay.
You don't have what's on them, do you?
No, it's just completely random.
Okay.
So, Camilla, Killer Camilla, spin the wheel.
Woo.
Whoop, whoop. Oh, nice little angelic spin today.
Have people been going
aggressive, yes. I did a really good one yesterday. It didn't stop for 5 minutes.
Oh, God.
Yeah, we're going on and on. What number are we on?
2.
2. 1,
Lucky number
2,
as well.
3, 4, 5. This is my new song I sing for the spin the wheel.
Proper seal as well. The attention to
detail. Loves the seal.
Honestly, okay. Oh, if you could be friends with a celebrity, who would it be?
And why?
I would say, I feel like this one's quite a basic answer, but I do love her. I think Olivia Attwood's fab.
Oh, yeah.
I absolutely love her.
Nice.
I would be friends with Olivia Attwood because she's so outspoken, doesn't give a fuck what people think. And yeah, she just is authentically herself.
She is.
She'd be in the circle. I know that we'd be
And for
mates.
somebody that was on such an early season of Love Island, she has smashed it.
Her PR, her personal PR is like ridiculous. It's like no other, unrivaled. She's still got her own show.
Yeah.
And also she's a little bit of a Joey Essex in that she plays that she's a little bit stupid, but she's really smart. I know that I can tell that she's a smart cookie.
Yeah.
And it's all part of the...
What about like a Hollywood pop, like someone ridiculously untouchable, famous?
Yeah. I'd probably have to go for like a business tycoon there.
Okay.
Like, I'd probably go for Elon Musk. Like,
nice.
Yeah, I'd have him. He's definitely up there with who I'd be friends with, because I think he'd just be so interesting. Like, he's one of those people that you just feel like you were doing sweet fuck all in comparison. Like, he's sending people to Mars, for fuck's sake. Like, do you know what I mean? So I'd be friends with him.
A monkey with a plan.
Yeah. So yeah, Olivia, imagine that as a dinner party. Me, Olivia Atwood, and Elon Musk.
Brilliant. Oh, I'd watch that.
I'd invite you as well.
Thank you so much.
But yes.
Can I switch that question up and ask anyone from the past?
Anyone from the past? As in like dead?
Yeah.
Probably Henry VIII, because I'm obsessed with the Tudors. Yeah.
Wow.
That is a great way to clear. Say if I'm like speaking to, say when I used to go out and be fun and I'd speak to a boy in a club, they'd be like, what are you interested or whatever? I'd be like, the Tudors, Henry VIII. They'd literally like just go into the toilet and then never return. Because I am geeky with like the past, do you know what I mean? I just think
that's amazing.
There's actually an event happening at Samsbury Hall near us.
Oh, yeah.
It's like a night
that was
with
my
the Tudors.
first ever job offer.
Was
Samsbury
it?
Hall. I was 14 and they were like, do you want to come and have a job? And I was like, I'm 14. And they were like,
cute.
when you're 16, come back.
Love that.
Yeah.
So yeah, Henry VIII, random one, little curveball there for you.
That like a little guilty pleasure.
It is. Oh, God,
I love it.
I'm obsessed with the Tudors. 27 and a massive Tudor
Amazing.
geek.
Dan would love you. He loves history.
Does he?
Yeah. So I just want to say thank you for coming on the pod.
Thank you for having me.
My fellow Northern gal. Just to finish off, we ask everybody this. It can be about anything to anyone. What is your inspirational advice for anything?
For anything at all?
Just Camilla's advice. Camilla.
I'd probably say the time is going to pass regardless. That's another tattoo. So enjoy it. Like, whether you accomplish the marathon, do the podcast, or put yourself out there in terms of like a relationship, even whether you do it or not, the time is going to pass, and you're just going to miss out if you don't take action. And I think that the biggest thing that I've learned in the last year is that intention without action is completely redundant. So no one ever regrets the things that they do. It's only inaction that people regret.
I love that. Absolutely amazing. And watch In Time with Justin Timberlake, because actually, fabulous
it's
film.
Essential.
Amazing.
Perfect. Thank you so much for having me.
No, you're very welcome. And I just want to say, I think the best thing about the whole podcast was the 40 animals.
Yeah.
I think you should go with that wherever you go.
I will. I've never actually said that either. So
amazing. It's great. But yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Woo.